What's going on, guys? Yesterday was another quite special day to me, because at 21st of April 2012, exactly 1 year ago, encouraged by my friend Mars, I uploaded the first Pokemon video on this channel, a mixed tier battle against Puddles A1, which also was one of my first subscribers. Fully expect that in just 1 year I will have 180 of them. Hint, not me. So today, to celebrate that, I'm bringing you a battle that isn't related to it in any way, shape or form. And opposing to the last upload, it's a real NU battle, even though on both sides there are still a few PU pokes, but as you are about to see, it's these pokes that will do the biggest amount of work for both of us. So on my side there is good old NU Trick Room team with its star, Choice Bandit Trapinch on the leading spot. That's because looking on his team, my instinct told me that Volbeat and most likely Scarred Wailord in other words mean rain boosted water spouts, which might be a serious problem, so I wanted to get rid of it as soon as possible. Let's see then how it turned out. So he does lead off with Volbeat, which confirms my suspicions about it being weather, precisely rain setup, hence I go straight for a Rock Slide. That play is actually more significant than it seems, because unsurprisingly he turns out to be sashed, and reveals a Baton Pass on the following turn, which tells me that he is most likely carrying Tail Glow as well. So had I gave him one more free turn, he would be able to Baton Pass +3 to Wailord and in the rain, completely annihilate my team with either Water Spout or Hydro Pump, so my instinct pretty much saved me there. He Baton Passes to Cacturn for some reason. I'm guessing he was afraid of me holding a Focus Sash as well and switching up my attack to Earthquake, predicting his Wailord. Then he protects once to find out if I switch up my attack to Superpower, but I just switch to Cacturn, which equipped with Drain Punch can deal with most of the dark types quite effectively. He switches to Torkoal to take any physical hit from me, but rather than leftovers he has Air Balloon, which gets popped immediately on his switch. Then he sets up his rocks on my switch, something that this Regirock cannot do, but instead it can set up a substitute knowing that Torkoal can touch him, and then do a ton of damage with Stonage to incoming Wailord, easily enough to be a 2-hit KO, except you know, hitting 2 Stonages in a row in my case is as likely as catching a fly with one hand wearing a boxing glove. So right there I'm like, screw it, YOLO, so I go for another Stonage, but he goes right back to Torkoal, probably predicting my switch to Cacturn, and takes a lot of damage on my switch. Then he tries to break my substitute immediately with Lava Plume, but I think depending on his EV investment, even 2 of these might not be enough to break it. We never find out if I'm right on this one, because seeing that his efforts are in vain, he goes to Giga Lift, takes a crit Earthquake on the switch, which as it turns out right after doesn't even matter, because he just explodes in my face to break my sub and get a free switch. Then he brings back his Wailord, but this time, thinking that he won't make any over predictions, I go to Cacturn to take a Hydro Pump, and because his Torkoal is low at health, he doesn't really have anything to stop me after a Swords Dance, so he decides to sacrifice his big hitter and goes down to a Sucker Punch. Then he makes a very good play by protecting once to avoid the Sucker Punch, and then, because I don't have any speed investment, he outspeeds me and takes me out with a Seed Bomb. So now I go to Lampent and set up a Trick Room predicting his Sucker Punch, but he either sees that coming or just decides to Death Fodder his Volbeat at this point. Thanks to lack of Stealth Rock on his side and his Prankster ability, he is able to set up the Rain Dance before I finish him off with a Shadow Ball, and then brings his Regice to abuse it with a Thunder. But knowing that Regirock can take at least one hit from his Ice Brother, I switch to it, and thanks to Trick Room and Drain Punch on my moveset, I'm still at better position in that matchup. Here is the interesting bit though, because rather than Brave I'm running Adamant Nature, and neither of us has any speed investment, we have the exact same speed stat, and although I win the first speed tie, which makes me think that I'm faster in the Trick Room, on the following turn he goes first and takes me out with an Ice Beam before I get the chance to recover my health with another Drain Punch, which will then allow me to take it. So because my Trick Room has just run out, I go to Mushrana to set it up again as he T-Waves me and at the same time gets paralyzed as well thanks to Synchronize, and then I switch again to Lampent to do some reasonable damage with a Fire Blast and bring him down to the range where Trapinch can finish the job with either Rock Slide or Earthquake. On the same turn however he goes back to Cacturn, and at this point I'm thinking, maybe he doesn't have Sucker Punch after all, so I go for a Fire Blast, and find out the hard way that he indeed has it. It's alright though, because now it's time for OMNOMNOMNOMNOM to do some work. So I go straight for a Rock Slide, knowing that with max HP investment I can take one Sucker Punch even if he is Adamant, but he goes for a Seed Bomb instead, probably forgetting about Trick Room, so that's one. Oh, Torkoal, never mind, that's 2 for 2 for a Trapinch. Now back comes Regice, and I stay in, thinking that because he is paralyzed I should be faster, but nope, without any investment and Brave Nature, my speed stat hits whopping 22, which makes me still about 8 points slower than him. Thankfully he gets paralyzed on this turn, but to make up for that my rock slide misses, so I would say this turn was a complete waste of time, if not the fact that because of it Trapinch is still alive. Anyway, now that I know that even paralyzed he's still faster, I go right back to Mushana to set up the Trick Room for the last time. I take his Ice Beam well enough that at first my plan is to recover my health with Moonlight, set up a couple of coal mines and finish the game with stored power, but I get paralyzed on the following turn, so that doesn't happen. That however gives me a free switch to Trapinch, and knowing that I can't take him out in one hit, my choice basically comes down to whether I want to take 10% risk of missing a rock slide for 30% flinch chance, or just lock myself on Stab Earthquake and hope that he gets paralyzed. I decide to go with the first option, and it turns out to be a good decision, because I do get the flinch, which honestly probably didn't even matter, because he could get paralyzed and I still had my Swallow at full. But regardless, I finish him off with another rock slide, and that is the game. Good game, Scruffydog. Finally Trapinch got the chance to use its potentials to the max, and with 3 kills and 2 heavy dents to your team, it pretty much did most of the work by himself. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to check out Mars's channel, especially if you happen to play Call of Duty, and after that you might want to check out Puddles' channel as well, for some great Pokemon related videos. Links to both channels are in the description, but that's it for now. I see you all next time.